Keep yourself in the loop of everything football on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. The latest news on and off the field, be it college football, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC to the NFL. We've got you covered. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Welcome to the GSMC Football Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. We are back after a brief absence. I am your host, Jeff Malinoff, and with me is my partner in crime, Mark Souza.
What's up?
Hey, I should have let you say hi. You can say hi again.
You gave me an awkward pause. Either I was supposed to say something or not.
Honestly, something was stuck in my throat, and I was trying to get rid of it before I could talk again. Anyways, welcome. We had a little brief absence. We moved locations. Like we said, we thought we were going to be back on Monday, but moving is a bit of a female dog, if you know what I mean. And we are here now. It's a Wednesday. We got plenty of football to talk about. We got the college football playoffs. We got Urban Meyer. We got Mike McCarthy. We got Kareem Hunt. We got all the games to talk about. We don't have to talk about all of them, but we'll talk about what the outcomes are and how the next week happens and playoffs and whatnot. But let's get into it right away. We'll get into the most notable news, I guess you could say. Kareem Hunt has been cut by the Kansas City Chiefs after lying to them about the incident that happened, that the video surveillance caught him in February assaulting a young woman. There was a little bit of a scuffle that happened, and he lightly kicked her while she was down also, which didn't help the matter. And now he is a free agent. He's on an indefinite ban by the NFL, by the commissioner, as this ongoing investigation continues. So now we see Kareem Hunt in the free agent market. He cleared waivers. He is officially a free agent now. So the question remains, what is the future hold for Kareem Hunt?
He'll likely be suspended for half the season next year, and then he'll be playing again. He's too talented to not be on a roster. Somebody will pick him up. They'll hope the media storm, goes away by then. But we all know that this will be something that will stick with him for a long, long time.
Yes, absolutely. And it's just like when you have video surveillance, it just seems like it's worse off for you. And obviously he won't be playing the rest of this season, but I obviously see in the free agent market in the offseason he will be back. I don't think that's an issue. And yes, like you're right, it's too talented. But does this affect the Kansas City Chiefs' chances for the playoffs? Because we saw them play against the Raiders. It was 40-33. They played good, but the fact of the matter is they relied a lot on the passing game because they don't have that aspect in Kareem Hunt anymore. And they have Spencer Ware to really rely on, and he's not that reliable as Kareem Hunt. He's not that type of explosive running back, because we both agree he's one of the top 5 running backs in the league. Kareem Hunt is.
Well, the Chiefs will make the playoffs for sure, but it might affect their chances of winning the division. The Chargers are just a game back, and they're surging right now. The Chargers are playing great football. You could argue that they're the hottest team in the NFL at this moment in time. And, yeah,
we'll talk about their game in a little bit because there's lots to talk about that game.
There is, though, this does affect the Chiefs because Kareem Hunt, we talked about this, the Chiefs' defense is not so good. Their offense is amazing. But Kareem Hunt was one of the 3 weapons that Mahomes had that really stood above the rest. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Kareem Hunt. Now you lose Kareem Hunt. Spencer Ware, I get it. He's been there. He knows the system. He's a decent player in his own right. But to me, Spencer Ware is just a guy. Hunt. Like Spencer Ware for me is just another guy in the NFL. I think he benefits from the system. He'll put up good numbers. But Kareem Hunt, man, he is a talented football player. So it's very sad to see him kind of throw this opportunity away. Yeah, he'll get a chance to play in the NFL again if he keeps his nose clean. But he was in the perfect situation. He had a great quarterback behind him. He was young as well. with Mahomes. They could have built this thing for a long time. They could have been together doing this thing.
Could have been
for
a
5-10
dynasty.
years.
Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, you got two guys that are under 25 years old, both killing it at their respective positions.
No sign of slowing down either.
Yeah, a young, talented offense.
Yeah.
So
it's honestly just
it's
like
a huge blow to Kansas City, I would say right now. Without really diving too far into it, I think that I would have had them in the top 2, top 3, and I see them more as like a 5-6.
You could even put them at the number 1 at the best team in football. You could arguably say that. Obviously, their defense shown against the Raiders needs a lot of work still. Their secondary is, I think, what's going to kill them when it comes to the postseason. But the fact of the matter remains, that offense is so good, and now they're relying way too much on the pass. And, sorry, there's a little car in the background. Sorry about that. Still, like we said, we're getting used to the whole move thing, so we don't have really soundproof or anything like that at the moment. But how we're getting at this is losing Hunt adds on to the fact that this defense of the Kansas City Chiefs is a big question mark, a huge question mark. And like you said, that moves their offense as well to a more heavy base pass. And that might kill them in the long run.
Kareem Hunt is a matchup problem, as Spencer Ware is really not a matchup problem. That makes a big difference.
I know they still have Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, all still great, no question about it. But now I think they're going to rely too much on the pass, and that's going to kill them.
I mean, it might. We know that Andy Reid is a creative guy, a creative offensive mind, and we're going to have to see him continue to be that creative mind. You know, we already saw a very awesome approach to offense by Andy Reid this year. We've seen him run all types of different plays. One of the more, again, innovative minds, but he might have to go back and figure out other ways on top of what he's already done to make this offense get back, because they are losing something with Kareem Hunt. Let's not get it twisted.
And I have seen this in the past, or maybe you have seen it too, I'm not sure, but Andy Reid, when he gets pushed into a corner, he throws the ball too much, and it costs him games. And he doesn't really work the clock at all. He just tries to pass to get big plays in, and that usually is the costly interceptions. And hopefully that doesn't happen to Mahomes. We'll see what happens. But the fact of the matter remains, this team has now, going from, like we said, maybe the best team in football, best team in the AFC, to a huge question mark. And can they even get past the first, if they get a bye week in the playoffs, do you even see them getting past the divisional round?
It depends on the opponent, but the AFC is starting to become pretty good at the top. I'm not sure if the 6th team that makes it in will be a force, but I mean, it really is starting to look like 5 teams right now.
You can look at the Texans and the Chargers right now, the 2 hottest teams in football, arguably, and they both can beat the Chiefs now, in my opinion. With the Kareem Hunt, I would say maybe it'd be a good game, but right now, I would pick the Texans and the Chargers over the Chiefs. Wouldn't you?
It's trending that way. I'm not sure. I need to see the Chiefs play a couple games here without Kareem Hunt to really see.
Instead of just one against the Raiders. I mean, that game.
Yeah.
But that game
their
showed their
fine,
weaknesses.
You know, their offense was fine.
But what really wasn't was their secondary, and that really is what puts me in a big question mark about them. Is there a secondary?
Kareem Hunt does help their defense, though, because if they're not able to run the ball as effectively with Spencer Ware, then they could put their defense on the field for more time than they would prefer. So that could hurt.
Yeah. And when you look at like the best teams in football, you always got to look, their offense is just as good as their defense, or vice versa. And with the Chargers, like, they have a pretty solid defense, all things considered. And their offense really helps them out in the long run when they have a Melvin Gordon. I know he wasn't playing last week, but he's going to be playing in the postseason most likely if they make it there. And this team is all around a great team. And I don't see that with the Chiefs anymore. It's unfortunate, but we might see an early exit in the playoffs for the Chiefs.
It's definitely possible, and I know that you've been skeptical all year because of Andy Reid, and he seems to underwhelm when it counts the most. So, I mean, obviously, I think most people are expecting that same thing to happen now with the.
I expected him to like kind of mess things up and all like maybe offensive plays or questionable decisions, but honestly, it's not him. It's just bad luck around him.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But you want to talk about the Packers situation now?
Yes, after the loss to the Arizona Cardinals after a missed field goal by Mason Crosby in their 20-17 loss against the Arizona Cardinals, who've only beaten one team this year, and that's the 49ers. They've been now their second team in the Green Bay Packers, which only hurt their their draft pick order, to be quite honest. But granted, this has officially lost the job of Mike McCarthy. We all expected him to be fired by end season, but this really fast forward some things. This loss.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall after Mason Crosby misses the field goal at the end of the game there. So Packers lose. Mike McCarthy's fired. A lot of people would say long overdue. What about you?
Yeah, long overdue also. But we can also go into like how fast, or we can also talk about maybe a whole segment of how kickers have just been lackluster this season, the last couple of seasons.
Crosby especially, too.
But like every kicker you think is like automatic have not been automatic this season. And the big question remains, like, I know not just the kickers, but just Green Bay. Is this team going to be in the gutters for a bit, or are they going to find a good head coach and be back on top before we know it?
I think the Packers are maybe the most attractive head coaching vacancy. I know some people might point to the Cleveland Browns being an attractive spot in the offseason. We know that some other coaches are going to be fired. That's just the way the NFL works. It's usually 4 or 5 at least every year.
It's usually the bottom 5.
So there could be more jobs opening up, but I would say as of right now, how many jobs are out there where you can take over and have a Hall of Fame quarterback at your disposal for the next 3 or 4 years?
None.
Exactly. So, yes, the Browns are intriguing. What they're doing is looking good with their young talent, Baker Mayfield, guys like Jarvis, Landry, Nick Chubb. They have a decent little team building right there, but we don't know if Baker Mayfield's a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. And let's be honest, it's a quarterback league. Whoever takes over the Packers is getting Aaron Rodgers, who is arguably the best quarterback of all time. I know a lot of people who are listening probably just rolled their eyes, but it can be argued. What can't be argued is the fact that he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. He will be in the Hall of Fame. Everybody knows that. He's one of the greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. He might be the greatest quarterback in Packers history. It's arguable. It really is 3 men, right? Bart Starr, Brett Favre, and
I was going to say Bart Starr has something to say about that, but
Aaron Rodgers is at least number 2. At least number 2. So, regardless, we're looking at a premier coaching job in the NFL, and it's Green Bay. It might not be the free agent destination. It might not be a place that's, warm and fun to live in, like L.A. or I don't know.
Yeah, it's Green Bay, Wisconsin, the ideal vacation spot.
There might be
offense, Green Bay, but
there might be better locations. But in terms of, that when you play in Green Bay, like that's the team that's loved there. You're going to get a great atmosphere. It's a place where like football gurus, football heads really enjoy, right? Like, so if you're a coach, you're a football fanatic. You just have to be. It's a great job. Like we're talking about being the coach of the Packers.
You're going to be instantly loved.
Franchises in the NFL. So. If you had the Mount Rushmore of franchises in the NFL, you'd have the Packers on there.
But let's get real. Who lives in Wisconsin or Green Bay, Wisconsin, is not a Packers fan?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't watch football and you live in Green Bay, Wisconsin, I got nothing. Nothing to insult you, but seriously, what else is there to do there? I mean, it's football and snow, and it's. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Anyways, getting off topic. The main thing about this is Mike McCarthy has been there for 13 years, won 1 Super Bowl with one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, like you said. I'll agree with you on that one. And bottom line is, Mike McCarthy just wasn't getting it done. He was honestly just like, everyone was getting frustrated in Green Bay because of him and his questionable decision making. So honestly, like when you're looking at the Packers, if they get a solid head coach, which most likely they will, if Aaron Rodgers is happy, I can see this team getting back on top before we know it.
The question is will Aaron Rodgers be involved in the coach hunt, and how much will he be involved?
I can almost guarantee he will be, because it's just like you can't leave that guy out of the conversation. It's like leaving Tom Brady. If they fired Belichick. Impossible, I know, but it's like one of those things where if they fired it, Brady would have everything to do with that coaching decision change, everything, because you don't leave out the most important guy on your roster. I hate to say it, but quarterback is one of the most crucial positions on the roster, and when you have one of the best in Aaron Rodgers, he's going to have some say in that coaching decision. It has to be.
So I guess the question is Who will the Packers go for? I can think of a couple names off the top of my head. A guy like Jim Harbaugh has to be talked about. I'm not saying he'll leave. I'm just looking at it from the Packers' perspective. So if you're the Packers, right? I think your wish list starts at Harbaugh. I think it goes to Lincoln Riley, Oklahoma coach, who's a popular name who some would say might be the Cleveland Browns.
He got his team into he's been talked about a lot there. But he did get his team into the college football playoffs, granted.
I know this has just happened, but you got to talk to Urban Meyer. I feel like you got to at least make the phone call. Would you agree with that?
Yes, he is. He said he was retiring after the Rose Bowl, but who knows?
You have to just at least make the phone call. Hey, I know you're retiring.
Hey, Urban, it's the
Packers GM Brian.
Oh, hello.
Hey, Herb, it's GM over at the Packers. Can you give me a call when you get a chance? I'd like to talk to you about a possible coaching position. And I saw your resume. It looks pretty strong. Yeah. So,
also, I sent you an email about this as well as a fax.
So feel free to email me, text me.
Facebook me.
Yeah. Is that how they do it? With,
yes,
these jobs.
I emailed you. I faxed you. I just called you. I'm gonna text you.
Hey, Urban,
I'm gonna send you a love letter. I'm also going to send you some roses, in yellow roses, because we're green and we're from the Bay.
Hey, Urban, GM over NFL
we got to actually find out what his name is.
It's Gudikins.
I know. I'm just going to see how to pronounce it properly.
Jeff, hold on. Hey, Herbs. Hey, my name is Brian Gudikins. I was browsing LinkedIn. It just so happens that you're a football coach and we have an opening. Some team in Wisconsin.
Hey, Herbs, Resident Evil Herbs that healed me. Like, what are you talking about?
We got this coaching job in Wisconsin you may or may not be interested in, but, it's a decent team, decent quarterback. Give me a call.
Get my fax, get my email, get my text, get my tweet, get my Facebook message. Anything else, just hit me up. We can talk contracts. We have Aaron Rodgers. Have you heard of him? He's kind of a good quarterback. I think you guys would get along. But anyways, just coming back.
Can throw the ball a little. He's a decent thrower of the football.
This has been going on for 5 minutes now. I'll leave you alone. Bye. Click. Urban Meyer listens to that and he just goes, "Why do you just call me Herbs?"
So I would say right now the three coaching candidates that we're going to hear a lot about in the off season with especially Cleveland and Green Bay. I think you're going to hear Harbaugh. I don't think he's going to leave, but you're going to hear teams be like, "Hey, what will it take to get you?" We know Miami tried to get Hart. When he signed with the 49ers, Miami threw a ton of money at him, and I don't know what made him choose San Francisco over Miami at that time.
Well, he was coming out of Stanford, and that was like the same area, and the talent the 49ers had were much better than what Miami had.
And you know what? Urban Meyer's retiring. It might be health-related, but NFL head coaching jobs take a lot less time, a lot less energy than college football jobs.
Tell that to John Gruden. You see him in Tampa Bay. Remember when he was Tampa Bay and Oakland back in the day? He was like every 3 a.m. in the office.
The thing is that in college you're recruiting when you're not coaching.
Right, true.
And it's a 12-month job. In the NFL, yes, I get it. There's a draft, but you also have designated people in the front office to do some of this stuff. You have a GM.
Absolutely.
You have talent evaluators. You have scouts that are on the road. When you're in college, you are hitting the road when you're not hitting practice.
But since we're talking about Urban Meyer in Ohio State, we got to think Cleveland would be a option for him because just of that area.
You got to think.
Well, with Harbaugh, we talked about with Harbaugh with the 49ers. Like, he was in Stanford, then he went to San Francisco. Just an easier move, just an easier way to settle in when you're in the same state, roughly the same area.
Would you say that Urban Meyer to the Browns or to the Packers would be a perfect holiday gift for the fans of those teams?
Oh, 100%. It would be almost impossible, but again, he has to finish the Rose Bowl, which is on the 1st, so it's past Christmas. So it would be like here's a New Year's gift, or here's an early birthday gift for the 2019. Whenever your birthday is.
Speaking of perfect holiday gifts, I have one for you. Harry's makes a perfect holiday gift. What is Harry's? Harry's. It's for any man who needs to shave. We all need to shave. Man, come on. Even if we're cleaning it up for the holidays, we got to look good for our friends and family. It's a practical gift that men will actually use. And for a limited time, we do have a special offer for the fans of the GSMC Football Podcast. We have partnered with Harry's to give you $5 off any shave set, including our limited edition holiday sets. When you go to harrys.com/GSMC football, plus you'll get free shipping. This offers for new and returning customers. It's only available for the holidays. Each Harry shave set comes with an ergonomic weighted handle with an option to engrave. German-engineered 5-blade cartridges that provide a close, comfortable shave. Foaming shave gel for a rich lather. A travel cover to protect those blades. And it comes in a handsome holiday gift box. Maybe you just want something for yourself and you don't need a gift for a loved one. Redeem a Harry's trial offer to experience the quality of shave before committing. So again, get your holiday shopping done early. Free shipping ends on December 12th. It's coming up a week from today, so act now. Go to harrys.com/GSMC football to get a $5 off shave set while supplies last. That's harrys.com/GSMC football.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's GSMCpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. We just finished talking about Urban Meyer and Mike McCarthy and their coaching futures. Now we're moving on to the Washington Redskins as they signed Reuben Foster, and they were admitted in discussing about signing Colin Kaepernick, but they decided not to and signed Mark Sanchez, the Mr. Butt Fumble himself, which actually had a butt fumble recovery. Did you see that?
You know,
it has come full circle.
Yes, as in life, everything comes full circle.
Just like the Lion King trailer, it's the circle of life. It's the circle of butts.
He recovered the butt fumble. He redeemed the butt fumble, and
well, not redeemed. That's still going to be known as the most infamous play in probably NFL history. The biggest blooper reel move. It has to be. Nothing will top that.
Funny.
Running into your own lineman's
he
butt
ran
and
hella
lose
fast into him too. Like it wasn't like
it looked like he almost knocked himself unconscious.
It honestly looked like a Madden glitch. Like he ran and then he hit his lineman.
You mean like because of the new physics? It looks like you just like you run into a guy and you just like become limp.
Yeah, it looked all weird.
Yeah. But speaking of the Redskins,
Colt McCoy
has a broken fibula. So there's two quarterbacks.
The craziest thing about that
with broken
was
links.
that he literally walked himself to the locker room.
Okay, granted, Smith's injury looked brutal. Like he couldn't walk on that thing.
Now I get it. He broke one of two bones in his legs, but I just thought we're talking about NFL teams. The cart always comes out from injuries, and this dude is heavily limping back. And I was thinking, watching the game, I'm like, where's the cart? Why are they making this guy? He was walking with that woman next to him. I don't know if she's a staffer, if she's a strength.
His wife? I don't know.
No, it was just, I think it was a team official. But it's like
maybe they didn't know the extent of the injury.
He's walking. He's not even getting assisted walking.
He's probably like, I got this. Some people are just kind of stubborn about that. Like, and then I saw someone on Twitter going, "Oh,
it took him like 20 minutes to walk to the locker room."
Well, and then someone was going, "Oh, he's way tougher than Alex Smith." Alex Smith's leg was literally rubber. It was literally just flesh. You couldn't walk on that thing.
You can't compare a compound fracture to a broken bone.
Well, that's what Twitter people are for. Anyways, speaking of that, and Mark Sanchez is now the starter, and they should really consider signing Colin Kaepernick, in my opinion.
You want to know another crazy thing that happened in that game?
What?
Adrian Peterson had a 91-yard touchdown, and he didn't hit 100 yards rushing.
Is that even physically possible?
99 yards on like 10 carries.
So
he had a 90-plus yard touchdown and it didn't
I
hit.
forgot I thought he broke 100, but you're right, he didn't. 99. Is that even possible? Did you hear what he said recently, though? Did you hear an interview? He recently admitted he still hits his kid.
Yeah.
Like
the Redskins, man, they're just a mess right now with the whole
But no, Adrian Peterson, why would you say that? It's like I admit doing witchcraft also.
But
I also am a bounty hunter.
Sign someone who kneels for the national anthem, and that brings in.
But an admitted child abuser, domestic violence, multiple cases of domestic violence, Reuben Foster, and
controversial mascot.
that has potential racial slur.
No matter how you feel if it should be changed or not, Redskins is obviously like
it could be a slur. It could totally be a racial slur.
You could absolutely use it as a slur. Absolutely.
Yeah, and yet Colin Kaepernick kneeling from the national anthem.
It's all about standards, man, and morals. You know.
Is Colin Kaepernick more talented than Mark Sanchez?
I don't even think that. I almost feel like the question is an insult. Like. Absolutely. Like, are we serious right now?
Okay, can we say that Mark Sanchez did go to back-to-back AFC title games?
He did. And Rex Ryan was also coach of the year in the AFC once. Both things have passed. Both men have moved on. It's just something that look. Is Mark Sanchez going to give your football team the best chance to win on Sundays, or would maybe an athlete like a Colin Kaepernick give your team the best chance to win? Both players haven't played football in a long time. It's not like Sanchez is this, respected backup quarterback that has been playing football. He came off the streets 2 weeks ago. They signed him when Smith got injured.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's put it this way, Jeff. Gun to your head, you need one quarterback to lead your team to a win, or you're done. Are you picking up Sanchez or Kaepernick if you had to choose? There are only two men in front of you.
Can I use the Wildcat?
You can, whatever offense you want to use. I'm just saying you have to choose between one of these two players.
Okay. Give me Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, I mean, come on. What are we doing here? Now, look, are you in the business of winning, or are you in the business of setting these random morality standards? Because what we know about the Redskins, Jeff, is that some people would say they don't have any morality standards at all with their recent signing of Reuben Foster. Would you agree? Some people would say that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to agree that they don't have standards. I'm saying you would agree that they've made controversial moves, right? Where, okay, like they're taking risks, but yet they're playing it really safe with Mark Sanchez in the middle of a playoff hunt. Like, that seems weird to me.
Yeah, true.
I mean, they're 6-6.
They're
6-6.
Should we just admit they're not making the playoffs?
Yeah, but if they had somebody else at quarterback, maybe that gave them a better chance to win. They actually would have an outside chance. I actually would think that they would have a better chance than the Eagles, considering the scheduling. I mean, the Redskins finished the year with the Giants, Jaguars, Titans, and Eagles. Those are winnable football games.
True.
But no, not with Mark Sanchez. They're not winning. They're not winning more than two of those.
You're giving them a lot more credit, to be honest.
Well, I'm saying 2 is the max.
Still.
So, anyways, while we're in the playoff discussion, where do we see it now? Things have changed in the last couple weeks. Obviously, some teams have won games. Some teams are falling. A team like the Panthers are now 6-6 after being 6-3. Right now, your playoff teams in the NFC would be your wildcard teams. Would be the Seattle Seahawks and the Minnesota Vikings, and then behind them, I mean, it gets it gets interesting after that, because you have Carolina, like I just mentioned, 6-6. Philadelphia 6-6. Washington 6-6, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are not dead yet. They're at 5-7. Other than that, everybody else is dead in the NFC. What do you think? Do you think Minnesota and Seattle will be the two teams that make the wild card, or do you think Carolina, Philadelphia, Washington, or even Tampa Bay could possibly sneak in?
Well,
It's funny, but Tampa Bay is only 2 games out.
Yeah. But talking about the Panthers, they're on a bit of a losing streak. And the fact is, their momentum is slowly. They were 5-2 at one point.
They were 6-3. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so they were a great record. But we were saying like, oh, this team's so good, but they're in a great division in the NFC North, where we ended up a great division, but NFC South, excuse me, and where the Saints are the best team in football. And
I actually lied. They're on a 4-game losing streak.
4-game losing streak.
So they were 6-2.
And that is just a death sentence. At this late in the season, we still have a lot of games to go.
They also play the Saints twice in their last 4 games.
I don't think they're going to make it.
They play the Browns
because
this week.
If they lose those 2 more games, they're done. They can't afford to lose
this week.
games.
I think is a must-win, right? They play at Cleveland, and then they're home against the Saints.
Yeah, they need to win against Cleveland to even have a chance of making the playoffs. But again, losing those 2 games to the Saints, which might happen, is a death sentence.
Although they are helped because this week, the 2 teams ahead of them, they play each other, Minnesota and Seattle. That's a big game right there. So, okay, so that's the NFC. The AFC, I think, is more interesting because you got the 5 teams right now that have really separated themselves. That's Kansas City, New England, Houston, Pittsburgh, and the Chargers. Okay, that's 5. But after that, you have the Baltimore Ravens, who actually, you want to know what? The Ravens are only half a game behind Pittsburgh, so it's possible that the Ravens could be in first place after this weekend, which is kind of crazy to think about. But do you see Baltimore at least getting a wild card? They could win the division, but at least getting the wild card and holding off teams like Miami, Indianapolis, Denver, and Tennessee, who are at 6 wins?
See, that's the AFC is really close.
I still think Indianapolis has a chance. Like I know they've
been
lost.
playing well. I know they lost. Granted, they lost 6-0, and probably the most boring game of the year.
They play the Texans this week. Then they play the Cowboys, Giants, and Titans.
They're facing all these highly momentum teams, but I still think the Colts, if they win one of these games in the next 2 weeks against these, let's say hot teams. They're both hot teams are playing.
Ravens have a tough schedule too, though. They play the Chiefs, the Bucks, the Chargers, and the Browns. Like that's a pretty tough schedule, in my opinion.
See, the thing is the Colts have talent. This team can win. We've seen them win big games already this season. And they're going to face a Texans team that is arguably the hottest team in football because of their winning streak at the moment. They're 9 wins in a row. Mm-hmm. And from a team that started 0-3, I said this before, that the Texans are a dark horse, in my opinion, for a Super Bowl appearance. A legitimate Super Bowl appearance. And how Watson's been playing. Hopkins is he's honestly one of the top 3 wide receivers in the league, arguably. As well as just the defense is on a roll. J.J. Watt is leading that defense to an extremely successful year. The Colts beating them is...
I'm about to blow your mind right now.
Can I finish?
Go ahead.
Rude. My mind can be blown by... You know what? I'm not going to say
Lots of shiny things.
Yes, like that picture. Wow, look at that thing. Anyways. Wow, pretty. Anyways,
Go ahead.
what I was saying was if the Colts lose to the Texans, they could still make the playoffs, in my opinion. They can edge their way into an AFC. They have to win out, though. They can only afford to lose that one game against the Texans, but I think the Colts can make the playoffs. I really do.
They could. I think the Colts are a talented team. I think if they don't make the playoffs, they'll be like the next team out type of thing, you know?
We talked about how good Andrew Luck has been playing this season.
Yeah. However, the Ravens play the Chiefs this week. Mm-hmm. That could be a loss for the Ravens. I mean, I think we kind of expected, but they could win that game. But we'll see.
Well, yeah. It's all about the offense on both sides.
The Colts could win, or excuse me, the Colts could lose against the Texans. They're favored to lose. Obviously, they're the underdog in that game. They're playing on the road at Houston. So let's just say the Texans beat the Colts and the Ravens lose to the Chiefs, okay? The Broncos play the 49ers this week. If the Broncos win that game, they are actually the 6th team. sounds ridiculous to think about, but they would be 7-6. The Ravens would be 7-6, and the Colts would be 6-7.
I wish we had a podcast video right now because you see my eyes going very wide, thinking the Broncos actually have a chance to make the playoffs.
The AFC, I think, is wide open because
you know why the Broncos are good? It's not Case
even
Keenum.
Tennessee can be in it because if Tennessee beats Jacksonville this week, they're 7-6. You'd have 3 teams at 7-6, and the Colts would be at 6-7, or the Colts could win.
You're getting super excited.
The Colts
right
could
now.
win, and we could have 4 7-6 teams.
Jeez. First of all, you didn't need to move your arms around like a crazy person, like a floating tube man.
It's like Call of Duty when you call in the airstrike. That's what just happened in my head.
You don't play Call of Duty, do you?
I do. But I haven't played in a while, so they don't have airstrikes anymore, or what?
They do. It's called Lightning Strike, but it's called or a Hellstorm missile.
Whatever.
It's Black Ops 4.
You're hitting the button. You get the package.
Yeah,
you get the package.
Good effort. You can call it care
Kill
package.
streak. Kill streak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Call of Duty, I've been
Texans-
thinking about picking it up.
Yeah.
Been thinking about buying it on PlayStation Store.
Okay. Yeah. Black Ops 4 is fun. Also, Red Dead Redemption 2 is a lot of fun.
I'm thinking about that too. I can't decide.
They released online beta, so I recommend playing that.
I don't play online too much, but if I were,
well, there's just more. It's more of a story. There's a story in it too. You can play. It's
I
really
like
fun.
story.
If you love story, you'll love Red Dead Redemption 2.
Over Black Ops because that's more. Of
There's no story in Black Ops.
There's none at all
There's no
anymore.
campaign.
I know that they didn't put a lot of effort.
No,
into
there's
it
no.
anymore. There's literally no story
There's
mode?
a little story. You have to do there's a tutorial for how to play online.
Yeah,
and
they
there's
show you the different
and there's
buttons.
cutscenes.
Yeah, okay.
But those have nothing to do with anything that's happening.
What
But
about
anyways,
zombies? They got zombies.
They got zombies. Oh, they got zombies. Historical zombies.
Are they good zombies?
Oh yeah.
Because I know sometimes
I like
people
those.
criticize the zombie.
You're
mode.
on the Titanic in one of them. I'm not kidding.
Really? That's legit.
One of them.
As it's sinking.
Yes, actually, you
Do
hit
you
the iceberg.
sink?
You go into places of the ship that actually are flooded in water. You have to drain the water, and so you have to swim underwater, and zombies are chasing you underwater.
That's legit.
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of
okay, and
zombies,
there's also one of Alcatraz, but we'll get on that. Yeah.
Speaking,
I
of
wish we did a video game podcast.
Speaking of zombies, are the Browns? Are they dead at 4-7-1?
Once they get a new head coach, I will say they have a chance to make the playoffs next year. I give them a lot of chances.
Wouldn't it be crazy if the Steelers didn't make the playoffs?
It wouldn't be crazy because I've noticed they've been on kind of a downhill trend.
They play the Raiders this week, though. But then, Jeff Malinoff, are you ready for this?
Yes.
The Steelers have to beat the Raiders. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
They're on the road. I think this might be a tricky game. But if they lose, Jeff, I will tell you right now that they will miss the playoffs. Are you ready to hear why?
Enlighten me.
Because they play the Patriots and the Saints in their next 2 games.
You just dropped the mic is what you just did, didn't you?
Yeah.
But, interesting.
Anyways, we probably need to head to a break soon.
Yeah. But you know what? We're talking about breaks and winter break, and we talk about the
Holiday
Christmas
breaks,
time.
right?
Yeah, holiday break and the Christmas time. And you're always looking for something to get for your loved ones, right? Especially the men in your life, because those always are harder ones to get. But you know what? Harry's Shave Set might be that thing for you. Harry's makes a long-lasting quality product at a super reasonable price. Harry's gets a 4.5 out of 5-star rating on Trustpilot, and it's a practical gift that he will actually use and save him money on blade refills. As a special offer for fans of this show, the GSMC Football Podcast, we partnered with Harry's to give you $5 off any shave set, including our limited edition holiday sets. When you go to harrys.com/GSMC Football, plus you'll get free shipping. This offer is for new and returning customers and is only available for the holidays. Each Harry's shave set comes with an ergonomic weighted handle with an option to engrave, so you can make it special for that loved one. German-engineered 5-blade cartridges that provide a close, comfortable shave, foaming shave gel for a rich lather, a travel cover to protect your blades, a handsome holiday gift box, or you just want something for yourself just because you got them all the gifts already, you just want something for yourself, redeem a Harry's trial offer to experience the quality of shave before even committing. I have used this shave set. I actually like it. It's a very close shave. The gel actually is very nice and soothing. Everything about this, in the holiday box looks great. You can just wrap it up. You're good to go. I like it. I honestly highly recommend it. And get your holiday shopping done early. Free shipping ends on December 12th, so it's coming up, so act now. Go to harrys.com/GSMC football to get $5 off a shave set while supplies last. That's harrys.com/GSMC football.
Check out the show that's built on the MMA. From the UFC to extreme cage fighting, they got the fights covered. Check out the GSMC MMA podcast. Get the latest news on past or upcoming fights. Join us as we talk to and about some of the biggest names in the MMA, past, present, and future. When it's the fight game, there's just one show to check out. GSMCpodcast.com/MMA-podcast. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit GSMCpodcast.com for more info.
Welcome back, everyone, to the GSMC Football Podcast. We just finished talking about the crazy playoff conditions that the NFL is in. But speaking of playoffs, the college football playoffs are official. We have our 4 teams, and it goes such as follows. Number 1, unsurprisingly, is Alabama. Number 2, Clemson, after winning their ACC championship game against Pittsburgh. Number 3, Notre Dame, after not playing a championship game and being independent.
Notre Dame, huh? Notre Dame. That's what you're calling
like the Hunchback. It's Notre Dame. Okay, happy? I said it right. Notre Dame. You know who I'm talking about. After an independent team, since they had no championship game, they basically got in last week. And for number 4, that's where the questions lied. We had Georgia number 4 going into the championship game against Alabama. They were ahead. They had the win in their grasp. It was in their fingertips. And just like the national championship game, sorry to remind you, Georgia fans, it slipped away and they came back. Alabama did and won the SEC championship game. So Georgia is gone. And now it's down to only a few teams. UCF actually had a chance to get in if they got lucky. Honestly, if Ohio State lost and Oklahoma lost, they had a chance to get in my opinion. But both teams won.
I don't even think so.
Really? I thought they had a slight
I
chance.
think they would have just recycled somebody else.
Yeah, but okay. Anyways, we had Ohio State and Oklahoma. Those were the 2 teams that were going to take Georgia's place. Ohio State beat Northwestern and got their Big Ten championship, as well as Oklahoma winning their championship game against Texas. And who made it? Well, number 4 is Oklahoma. Oklahoma gets into the college football playoff. Ohio State gets snubbed. I think it's because of who they played in their championship games, respectively, in my opinion. And Oklahoma will face Alabama in the Orange Bowl. And we got Clemson and Notre Dame in the Cotton Bowl. Are you excited for these bowl games?
Yes, I'm excited. I think Alabama's going to win both. I think they're going to win. They're going to be the national champions. I don't see them losing, honestly.
Well, let me ask you something.
I think they already beat the second best team in the country.
Mm-hmm. Well, we talked about this off air before, but what if we did a 16-team playoff where each conference champion got a bid, as well as some 4 or so?
That's a lot of teams.
And then add a couple that are just like on the brink.
I'd say 8.
Would that be interesting? But would that be interesting? Like the conference, like the Conference USA would matter. The MAC would matter. You know, like those conferences would matter just as much as the Pac-12 or the Big Ten or so on and so forth.
I think 16 is too high, honestly, because at that point, I don't think there's 16 exciting teams to get behind. Like, I want to keep it.
Well, I'm just saying, like, each conference champion gets a chance for the college football playoff, as well as like 4 or maybe like a couple snubbed. They got snubbed in their championship games, and they can be in still. Like wild card. We could call it wild card.
I would say it's better to do like an 8 or 10 team playoff. You can still get 3 to 5 at-large bids. Depends on which one you want to do. Let's say 8, for example. You get your Power 5 champions plus 3. They can be
at large,
second place teams in a conference like Georgia, or you
UCF.
can have or UCF. I don't think that we need to put all the conferences champions in there, because there are just some that are going to get whacked.
I'm just using that because we talked about this before. I thought we'd be a good conversation, because
like UCF,
can you imagine, because
team.
The University of Alabama Birmingham actually won a championship game, so technically they would be in theory, they would be in the college football playoffs. And that's funny, because 2 years ago they didn't have a team, or a couple years ago they didn't have a football team. So that's a cool story. But if you want to look at that, that's really cool. But that's just an example.
I think we'll see playoff expansion at some point.
It's got to move to at least 8, to at least 6, right? I think 6.
I think this year, though, they got it right. I mean, based on the criteria, and I know that everybody's opinion is different, but
and there's some bias out there.
For example, Georgia, in my opinion, is the second best team in the country, but they got beat really bad by LSU, okay? Because of that game, they won't be in. I think that if they were undefeated going into that game and they lost, they still would have been put in the top 4.
But 2 losses is too many.
I agree.
Yes. And going through 5, let's just go 5 through 10 just to see if any of them had a shot, just for funsies. 5 was Georgia, like we said, 2 losses. Ohio State, 12-1, had a chance, but I think it's just based off the strength of who they played in the conference championship game, because they played Northwestern, an 8-4 team, compared to Texas, who was nationally ranked. I guess Northwestern was ranked too, but they were number 24, and Texas was 17 at that time, so it's one of those things. And Texas just was a better team than Northwestern, in my opinion. And then you go number 7, Michigan. We've talked about them enough, and how they had it in their grasp, and they just cannot. If they beat Ohio State, then yes, they would be in this right now, but they're not. And then number 8 is UCF, the only undefeated team that got snubbed out. Well, you got to say they got snubbed, because that's just how it works. And we both say strength of schedule and all that kind of things, which is understandable. Then you have Washington, number 9 at 10-3, and
maybe the worst conference-winning Power 5 team that there is.
Yeah. And then number 10, Florida. But yeah, 9 for Washington is a little high, in my opinion.
They're number 9 because they play in the Pac-12. I mean, let's be real. Like, they, if they played another conference, they'd be unranked, in my opinion.
I agree with that. And
they lost 3 times playing a Pac-12 schedule. Like, they would have lost 5 or 6 games.
A pretty
playing in the
weak
SEC.
Pac-12, mind you.
Yeah, they would have lost 5 or 6 playing in the SEC.
I could see that happening. And it's just one of those things in where that's just the luck of the draw, of where you play.
I think they got it right. I think the only gripe, honestly, is Ohio State. I think they have an argument. But, who you lose to matters. And they lost to Purdue. They got crushed. While Oklahoma lost to Texas by a field goal, their rival. And then they beat Texas. So they got a little fortunate that they got to redeem themselves. But the fact of the matter is, Oklahoma did not suffer a quote-unquote bad loss, where Ohio State did. And ultimately, that sealed their fate.
Yeah. And just honest, like we said before, this is the right top 4.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it sucks for Georgia, because I do think they have an argument as one of the best teams in the country, and they could beat Alabama on another day. The problem is they lost, and they have that LSU loss on their schedule. So if you're looking for the best 4 teams, no matter the record, we did not get the best 4. But if you're talking about the best 4 based on merit, I think they got it right.
Yes. And also you have to admit that Oklahoma versus Alabama might not be entertaining, as some say.
It will be entertaining, I think. It'll be fun. It'll be a lot of points.
I still think that Alabama's going to handily win this. That's just my personal opinion.
I agree. We can also break those games down as we get closer to them, but they are a heavy favorite right now. They're a 14.
Yeah, we won't get into it right now because it's just one of those things where
the
it's
Notre
too
Dame
far away.
Clemson game, I think Clemson is appropriately the heavy favorite in that game, but we'll see.
Yeah. And, of course, one of the most crucial things about this is Clemson versus Notre Dame. I think it's going to be a close game. And we're almost guaranteed a rematch of a national championship game if Alabama wins, because if they face either Clemson, or Notre Dame, they will be. That's happened before. Notre Dame a couple of years ago, I think 2011, 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
They got routed by Alabama?
2013, yeah. And, of course, we had the Clemson game where
That was the A.J. McCarron team, right?
Yes, it was. And also, this would also be a fact. If we do Clemson and Alabama again, they're 1-1 in national championship games, so this would be the tiebreaker,
And then
supposedly.
I think it was 2 years ago, Notre Dame lost to Clemson 24-22 on that controversial ending in the end zone on an offensive pass interference. Mm-hmm. So we do have, I mean, there are intriguing matchups to be had here for sure. I agree with that 100%. It will be fun to see how Oklahoma plays Alabama because we know that Lincoln Riley right now is maybe the most sought college coach by other colleges and also by NFL teams. We don't know if he'll make that jump. But, man, if he was to beat Alabama and win a national championship, every NFL team, not every NFL team, but every NFL team that needs a coach would be calling. That's for sure.
Yeah, they would be going pretty nuts, too.
Anyways, what do you think we take a break, come back? We got a few news and notes around football to wrap up the show.
Sure, we'll get right on that when we return. Hang on tight, folks.
Check out the show built around the women of MMA. From the UFC to the extreme cage fighting, we got the fights covered.
Listen.
It's the Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast. The latest news of upcoming fights, discussions of previous matches. Join us as we talk to and about the biggest names in women's mixed martial arts, past, present, and future. When it's the women's fight game, you know where to listen to. The Golden State Media Concepts Women's MMA Podcast.
Welcome back to the GSMC Football Podcast. We are on the final segment, on the final stretch. We are back in our new location, and I like our new location. Don't you think so, Mark?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
It's a little farther of a drive for me personally, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, just leave a couple minutes earlier, set
I
your alarm
did
5
leave
minutes
earlier. I usually leave my house around 6 a.m. to get here. But this time I left her 5:45.
I always wake up a little earlier on Wednesdays, too, because I want to see what people I picked up on waivers of all the claims that I've made.
I thought you were going to say like a Tinder or Bumble joke. I don't know why.
I'm married, man.
I know you're married. I was just like, is this a Bumble joke? Anyways, I am on Bumble. Why did I admit that?
Wow.
Well, it's worse. I could have admitted I was on Tinder.
What about Farmers Only? Are you on that one?
Dude, that jingle has been stuck in my head for the longest time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't say, okay, we can't do this right now.
Match.com.
I don't, whatever. That you have to pay for that crap. Anyways,
so you're a cheap guy. All right.
I'm not paying. Never mind. We're not getting in on this. We're talking about football, not dating sites. But if you want to talk about dating sites, tune into the Relationship Podcast. I'm sure they do some dating sites on that one.
This is a good segue. Speaking of men who are available, Kelvin Benjamin has been cut by the Buffalo Bills.
So he got broken up with his now on the
So he might
hunt.
need to update his resume or update his NFL possible free agent team dating app. I don't know, but are you surprised by Kelvin Benjamin getting cut?
No, because it was bound. Like they were talking about this for weeks and months now. This was only a matter of time.
Yeah. Okay. So Kelvin Benjamin gets cut. Man, what a waste of talent, right? Wasn't that long ago he was killing it at Florida State?
Yeah, he had a lot of potential.
He had that rookie year, 1,000 yards, like 10 touchdowns.
Oh, he was primed to be the next best wide receiver.
Just seems like he's a waste of talent, right? Like he's overweight a lot. It seems like he's really
He has
lazy.
lack of motivation. That's the key to that. Is like if he was motivated, then he could be a top 5 receiver, in my opinion. But he has all the talent in the world, but he just doesn't want to work for it, which is very disappointing.
The Oakland Raiders signed a new running back.
Did they now?
C.J. Anderson. Ever heard of him?
You mean the guy from Denver all those years ago?
Yeah, and he was on the Panthers this year, but it didn't really work out for him.
I forgot he was on the Panthers. He
barely played.
Yeah, he was in the background, obviously.
I feel like this is a really weird move, right? Like, it's late in the season. Why are the Raiders just adding more veteran running backs who are barely NFL replacement level at this point?
Yeah.
Like, they have Richard, they have Doug Martin. Like, do they really? I don't know. Whatever. I guess somebody's got to carry the ball if one of those guys gets hurt.
Yeah, it's one of those things. And obviously, you could see these two getting picked up by potential playoff teams just to boost their offense up. I don't know who maybe Indianapolis gets Calvin Benjamin. I'm just trying to think of examples.
Did you see that?
Did you want pizza?
No. Did you see that
I'm hungry for pizza now.
incident with Jerry Hughes, linebacker on the Bills, as he tried to attack the NFL referee?
I saw that.
Did you hear what happened?
Apparently, the ref called him the B word.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can say this on the podcast.
Well, the
That's why I'm not saying it.
the NFL Referee Association, they expect Ellison to be cleared, but he's actually on leave by the NFL.
So he must have done it, actually.
Well, he was in trouble before a couple years ago. He was in trouble with the Washington Redskins lineman. He allegedly was called the lineman and blank, whatever. So,
okay, you got to be a little. Say the first letter.
M-F?
That's all you needed to say. Now I know you went blank with the blank. I'm like, that could be any curse word.
A blanker. How about that?
Perfect.
All right. So
this guy obviously has some temper issues.
Well, he's been involved with multiple incidents now.
Well, I'm sorry. If you're a referee, you cannot be sensitive. Like, do you know like an umpire in baseball throws people out of the game so easily? Like, they are too sensitive.
Yeah, it was...
Gotta grow some thicker skin.
For me, like, I get it. Like, Jerry Hughes, they just lost a really close game. It came down to right to the very end where his team was literally inches.
If Clay caught it, they would have won the game.
His team was inches from winning. So.
Okay, let me ask you something. Do you blame the throw or the catch in that matter?
I think Clay dropped it.
Clay, obvious. Because what is...
Josh Allen threw it as, like, he had ran around, like, he gave it his all.
He didn't have any time to throw because his offensive line crumbled like it's a $2
Plus
steak.
He was exhausted from running.
That's being tougher. Okay, I meant
he ran. They did a study, and he ran over 800 yards in that game around the field.
Yeah, his offensive line crumbled like a bath bomb. You know how they just disintegrate? That's exactly how it was. Because he was running for his...
You take baths often?
No, I just... You see those commercials?
You take baths? Or what?
No, I don't take baths.
How do you know what they do?
Have you not seen bath bombs? What do you think they are? No, they just go into the tub and they explode.
I thought they were just a decorative piece this whole time.
You have a wife. She has bath bombs, doesn't she?
We take showers.
Okay, you didn't need to go into that detail. I did not need to know that. Hi, Mrs. Souza.
We take showers.
How are you?
Most people shower. Who
You looked at me like, oh, you know what I mean. You gave me that weird. Yeah, you were.
Come on.
Anyways,
man. I don't want to be.
Let's stop
don't accuse me of anything.
I'm sure your wife is lovely. Can we stop talking about her?
Don't accuse me like Bills linebacker Jerry Hughes accusing a ref of calling him names. Like he either said it or it didn't happen.
He probably did. If he's been accused of this before, he probably did.
It would
because
seem weird
the
that
guy
he would
wouldn't
make
be.
it up, right?
Yeah, why would you make that up? Like, and he went after him like that, and he was like, "Call me that again, call me that again." Like, if he was getting upset about something that made it up, that's one thing.
Maybe
but
he knew that ref had a pass, and he was playing 4D chess on every.
Maybe that was he was the guy in the Redskins that got
"Ah."
called that, even though he's probably not in the NFL at that time.
Anyways, that's all I have for news today.
Okay, thank you so much for being patient with us as we moved locations, and we are going to be back tomorrow to preview the Thursday Night Football. As well as probably other things that happen in the NFL because every day something has happened in the last week. So thank you so much. Once again, I'm Jeff Malinoff. That's Mark Souza. Make sure you tune into our sports podcast, our basketball podcast, our football this is the football podcast. I did a blunder. Our baseball podcast, basketball podcast, sports podcast, like I said, and of course soccer and fantasy football. So please tune into those other podcasts, and we will see you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.